Hey YouTube, it's Casual Brews here. Here with my Week 13 NFL picks. On vacation right now, so I'll try to keep this video a little shorter than usual. A lot of games to talk about though, so we'll see how well that goes. Yeah, coming off another really good week. Didn't really have time to do a full recap of the picks, but I went 19 and 11 on my picks for last week's games. Kind of found some magic against the spread. The spread's been kind of killing me so far, but I went 9 and 6 against the spread, 10 and 5 in the over-unders. Yeah, so another really good week. Wearing the same hat I did in my last video, old school Patriots hat, fresh from a 24 pack of Budweiser that I bought for a friend. So I mean, now maybe it's got a little lucky mojo. I don't know. Yeah, so we'll get right into the picks. First off, I got Dallas and New Orleans, Thursday nighter, later tonight as I'm recording this. Dallas 4.5 point favorites, over under is 47.5. I like Dallas. I mean, both these teams kind of going in the wrong direction. Dallas kind of bad loss. New Orleans bad loss themselves, got killed by the Bills. Dallas obviously kind of fell apart in that Thanksgiving Day of their own. I like the Cowboys to bounce back a little more. I don't love the 4.5. I could see this game kind of being close, maybe. I keep thinking New Orleans, defense is good in that, but they got shredded. They did not look good against Buffalo at all. So just based off my eye test, I just think Dallas a little more adept to come back. And I don't love the number, but I'm going to take Dallas minus 4.5 here. I also like the over 47.5. I don't know, Dallas's defense and New Orleans' defense both are kind of not looking as good lately as we kind of thought they were earlier in the season. I hate picking a Thursday night football overs. I feel like it's always primed to go under, but obviously both teams have the whole week of rest, being that they played on Thanksgiving. So I like this over 47.5. Next, we got Minnesota at Detroit. Minnesota 7-point favorites, over under 46.5. Kind of tough game as well. I mean, I'm just feeling like here Minnesota always seems to go hot and cold, hot and cold. They can't seem to string wins together. They don't string losses together either. I don't know. I think Detroit looked really bad in that game against the Bears. It was a miracle that game was even close due to the Bears not being very good either and coaching malfunctions on both sides. I think Minnesota can cover 7. They're going to need a win desperately, coming off another tough loss. They're still in the hunt. I mean, the NFC 7th wild card is going to probably only take 9 wins. 9 and 8 should get a team in there. It's just a big cluster right around that, one game below 500 mark. There's a bunch of teams kind of hovering around there near that 7th spot. So I like Minnesota to play hungry here. Yeah, cover minus 7. I think Detroit just stinks. Next up, we got Arizona. Oh, sorry, and the over-under. I like the under 46.5 in this one. Minnesota's defense overall has been playing pretty well. Detroit's kind of struggles to score. Just seems like too high a number for a game involving the Lions against Minnesota's defense. Pretty good, so I like the under. Next, we got Arizona at Chicago. Cardinals 7.5 point favorites. Over/under is 45.5. Yeah, I don't know. Even though the Bears don't look good, I just think they're gonna fight enough. I feel like in this game, defense kind of been playing better lately. So obviously the status of Kyler, it's like he's kind of still up in the air. I don't know if he playing. If he's playing, he's still kind of banged up. I don't know. I like the Bears to keep it close. I don't think they'll win by any stretch, but I think 7.5 is a little high. Bears maybe right off the back of their defense, keep this game kind of close. And under 45.5 as well. Arizona, another team that both teams really like to run the ball, long drives, not a lot of quick scoring. So I like another under. Unders have been hitting at probably the highest they've ever hit at in a season, I feel like. So under 45.5 here. Next up, Tampa Bay, minus 11 at Atlanta. Over-under is 50.5. I like the Falcons to keep this a little closer than that. I don't know. I rode with the Bucks last week on a big spread, covered, but it's just you don't see teams oftentimes win big back-to-back games. Bucks still without Antonio Brown. Their defense kind of get a couple guys back, and then a couple guys seem to go out. I think the Falcons can keep this kind of close. Divisional game, they generally play each other tough. Falcons are still kind of alive, even though they probably should know they're not a very good team. Their defense has been feisty at times. Obviously, that Dallas game notwithstanding. Yeah, I think the Falcons can keep this close. I like them plus 11. Even if close means like by a touchdown, I'll take it, honestly, in this one. And the under 50.5, I just think, and just the kind of way the Bucks play, they generally like to drag drives out. They're finding some success in the running game, obviously, with Fournette, and that's going to drag the clock out a little more, And and Falcons play pretty decent defense, and Tampa Bay kind of, and they don't score much, the Falcons either, so I like this under 50.5. Next we got Indianapolis at Houston. Indianapolis 9.5 point favorites, over under 45.5. Kind of same here. I like, in a weird way, both teams off a loss. Maybe a slight letdown spot for the Colts in the division. They desperately need a win. I think they'll get the win, but I like Houston plus 9.5. I just think another divisional game. These two teams always played each other tough, as far as I can recall, just off recent memory. So I know Houston lost to the Jets last week, but they kind of scrap and claw enough. I think they'll keep this closer than that. Again, Colts haven't really been blowing teams out much. I've lost a couple times picking Colts on big spreads. So I don't know. Give me Houston and over 45.5. In the Colts defense, we saw last week, we saw a lot of games so far this year. They're really not that good. They have one of the better defensive players, really two of the better defensive players, in Darius Leonard and the guy in the defensive line. I forget. Solomon Thomas, is that? I forget. The guy they got from the 49ers. But overall, as a unit, they're pretty bad. Secondary's not good. I don't know. They got ran all over by the Bucks. So, yeah, I don't think their defense is good enough. And then I think Houston, obviously a bad team, both sides of the ball, really. I think they'll score enough. Divisional game, amped up for it. I think this game could sneak over 45.5. I don't have many overs, so I got to try to find some. They're not all going to lose. So, next up, Eagles, -7 at the New York Jets. Eagles -7 here. Kind of tough game. Eagles coming off a kind of weird loss. Very low scoring, grinded out kind of game against the other New York team, the Giants, where they kind of shot themselves in the foot with turnovers. I think they'll probably come off that game pretty hungry, pretty pissed off. I like them to cover here, against the Jets team, which has a couple decent wins, but overall they're pretty bad, especially defensively. They're bad. I like the Eagles to get back on track here, run the ball well, limit the Jets' time of possession, but the run game is kind of explosive in a way that I think they'll get a couple big runs, maybe a couple big pass plays too. So I like the Eagles, and I like a weird way, I like the over 45.5. I know I just kind of argued against that with the whole time of possession, running the ball thing, but I just think the Jets defense is that bad. The Eagles defense is look good at times. They make some big plays, but they're not great. So maybe the Jets can sneak in a couple touchdowns of their own, but I like the Eagles in a big one. This is my one blowout pick, I would say, for the week. I think the Eagles blow them out. So give me the Eagles big and the over 45.5. Okay, LA Chargers at Cincinnati. Bengals are -3 in this one. Over under is 50.5. Kind of tough one here. I mean, really it's not. I mean, it's tough in the way that you would think the line should be so much bigger, being that it's at Cincinnati. If you go with the argument of a neutral home field is 3 points, they're saying these two teams are effectively even. Chargers started off the season hot. They had a lot of hype for being one of the better teams in the AFC, and they've stunk lately. They really look bad. Cincinnati's coming off 2 big wins in a row. Maybe that's kind of the formula. Teams not seeming to string wins together, so the odds makers think this is going to be that spot for the Bengals where and maybe where the Chargers play desperate. They really need a win here. They've been falling back to earth the last month or so. I don't know. It's like almost it's too easy to, it would make you want to pick the other way, right? It's the rat line as they call it. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna go with what I've seen on tape. The way the Bengals are playing just looks better than the way the Chargers are playing. Chargers just their offense just seems kind of discombobulated now. I mean, they got a good formula when they want to use it, running the ball with Eckler and pass to him too. Got two great receivers and Allen and Williams. I mean, I don't know. They just kind of struggle, and maybe they know their defense. It's one of those cases like we saw maybe with Kansas City where their defense is struggling so much, their offense is trying to force things a bit. I don't know. Cincinnati's playing good on both sides of the ball. Their defense is pretty underrated. It's a solid unit, and offensively they got a good formula too. Same kind of thing, running the ball real well. You got Chase on the outside, Higgins, got the tight end, I forget his name. But yeah, the Bengals they look better. The Chargers have burned me again multiple times. Gonna ride with the Bengals here, -3, and another under 50.5. Just the Bengals defense is playing great, honestly. The Chargers defense does kind of stink, so it scares me a little bit, but I just think it's a high enough number. Maybe the Chargers defense comes out inspired after they've kind of shit the bed for the last month or so. I think this can sneak under. Next, we got New York Giants at Miami. Miami's 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is 40.5. This is a tough one to pick, honestly. Giants coming off a win, but maybe that was more Philly shooting themselves in the foot. Dolphins coming off a string of good wins. Yeah, it just kind of seems like an odd line. Maybe like the line doesn't really reflect how much better Miami has looked lately on both sides of the ball. They're still not great offensively, but they've kind of been doing enough. Their defense is playing really well. Giants defense playing well too. Two teams that can at times struggle to move the ball, but Miami's kind of found something a little more lately. I'm gonna go with them -4.5, and I like the another under 40.5. I don't love this one. Got to pick every game. It's part of my self-imposed contract, if you will, but could easily see this squeaking over. All it takes is a couple quick drives, but both these two teams do kind of struggle at times offensively, even though Miami's shown improvement. They burned me last week. That was one of my losses. I had the under 42, and it was 33-10 Dolphins over Panthers. So yeah, under 40.5. I just think it's going to be these two teams. I don't know. It's going to be a grind. Maybe a few turnovers. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like the under, but not much. Next we got Washington at Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders are 2.5-point favorites at home. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. Washington looks pretty good, honestly. I mean, the Raiders have kind of been in a tailspin lately. They were hot for the first couple, 2-3 games after they fired Gruden, and then they've kind of fallen back to earth. Looked pretty bad, especially on offense lately. And then Washington times look really good in the game against Seattle, and they kind of let them back into it a little bit. Kind of got a little too vanilla with some of their play calls. A couple 3 straight run, play calls leading to punts. Gave a bad Seahawks team life when they didn't deserve it in that game. So, but I think overall I just like their formula a little bit better. They're running the ball better. Heineke's doing enough. What can I say? Like he's deceptively good running the ball too. That's a little nice bit of a sprinkle into their offense that they can use his legs and playing off of a really good running back in Gibson and some weapons on the outside and a tight end. So I mean, I like Washington +2.5 on the road here. I like them outright. I'm just gonna pick spreads to make things simple, but I would bet the money line here as well to win the game, Washington. And I like under 49.5. Just like I said, the Raiders can't seem to score lately. Washington's defense is kind of finding its rhythm a little bit. Their pass rush was all over Russell Wilson for the most part. Raiders' offensive line's okay, not great. yeah, I'd like this to be a defensive struggle. So I like under 49.5. Just seems like a really high number for two teams that really aren't showing a ton on offense right now. So yeah, weird total, but give me it under. Next we got Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Baltimore's 4.5 point favorites on the road. Yeah, Pittsburgh obviously coming off a dreadful blowout loss, getting called out by former players like Ryan Clark, this and that. Looks bad. I mean, on one hand, they could take that as a message and come back fighting, but I don't think they have the players to do so. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I like the Ravens here, -4.5, coming off kind of too close for comfort win of their own, where Lamar Jackson was really by far the worst game of his season. But he squeaked out a win. He's going to be hungry to get right the ship a little bit. He just wasn't seeing the field well at all. Like, I'm sure he'll watch film and kind of see, oh, gee, I could have seen this, could have seen that. So, yeah, I like Ravens kind of to bounce back in their own way because they were kind of barely won that game against a maybe not a very good Cleveland Browns team. So, yeah, I like Ravens -4.5, and I like the over 44. I just think Ravens alone, I think, are going to have a good bounce back game on offense. The Steelers' defense is not as advertised. It's not the same as in years prior. So I like the Ravens to put a good amount of points up, and then Pittsburgh can still, I think, show some fight on offense. Ravens defense is kind of like decent, but like also can get burned. Obviously, explosive plays are a problem for them. I don't know. Maybe maybe Claypool or something breaks one or two. Who knows? So I like over 44. I just think these two teams together might see some fireworks. I don't know. Next up, we got Jacksonville at the Rams. Rams -13, coming off 3 straight losses. It's tough to, expect a team to cover a line like that, but I think this is a perfect spot for the Rams. You know, fans may not be too convinced if they win big here because it is only the Jaguars, but hey, the Jaguars beat the Bills somehow, even though they're one of the bottom 3 teams in the whole league. I think it's the perfect spot for the Rams to get right off of 3 bad losses, get into rhythm, figure out what they got in Odell Beckham. He had a nice touchdown, at least in that last game. Yeah, I think it's a perfect spot for them to get right and to flex their muscles and just maybe bombs away. I don't know. So I like the Rams big in this one. I think it's a good spot for their defense too. Jacksonville just, I don't know. I think it's still a little early to judge Trevor Lawrence, but he doesn't look good. The Jaguars offense in general is probably the worst in the league, I'd say. I could see the Rams defense coming all fired up and horned up, ready to go. I could see this being like a 37-6 kind of game for the Rams. So I like the Rams big, and I like the under 47.5 just off the back of Jacksonville struggling to score against the Rams defense. So give me Rams and the under there. Next up, shit. Sorry. My phone kind of resting on something there. Okay. Next up, we got San Francisco at Seattle, which was initially the Sunday night game, but on the back of the Seahawks being complete eyesore to watch, they have flexed it out, and now we just, we're stuck with Seattle on mid-afternoon game. Niners are -3 at Seattle. As a Seahawks fan, it takes no joy in saying this, but we stink. Russell Wilson looks horrible. One would hope it's just a finger issue, but when you see him completely missing wide open guys in the middle of the field game after game after game, you see him ignoring DK Metcalf, even though, he's getting some extra coverage, but the best receivers in the NFL always find ways to get catches no matter what. I'm not saying DK is the best in that top tier category, but I think he's the one step below that. Still very good. You got to get in the ball, and Wilson just seems completely befuddled on what to do. Yeah, I think the finger may still be a small issue because I see some of his passes when he does get a guy, he kind of zips things over a little bit. I think he still doesn't have a full good feel for it, but he's just not seeing things out there. He's blind as a bat. Sometimes taking sad sacks where he's I got a chance to take off and run, and then he gets still sacked 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It just looks really bad. The defense is playing all the best they can. They're on pace to set, I think, by far the record for lowest time of possession in a single season. So that means their defense has been on the field for a record amount of time. And while they've kind of obviously, yeah, still had their struggles, the Colt McCoy game was, you know, no joy to watch on that side of the ball, but no defense can hold up when they're on the field almost 35, 40 minutes every single game. So, yeah, it's bad. Give me the Niners. Honestly, I hope they blow us out because that could be. I don't want another close loss. I don't want another. I don't want like a pity win when we're already out of the race. Yeah, it's bad. Changes need to happen. So, give me the Niners. I've been right on every Seahawks bet for a long time now. I was betting them against the spread when Gino was in there and they were covering close games, and I bet against them the last 2 weeks. Sadly, to my success. So keep the ball rolling, take the Niners. I hate it. I hate the Niners, but they're playing good right now. What can I say? I was wrong about them. Maybe not, because we'll see come playoff time if they stick to their formula or if they get too cute again. But give me the Niners right now. They're playing. This line should be like. I was thinking about this line. I was thinking, if it's around 6.5, I'll probably take the Niners. Anything more, but to see it only at 3 is bizarre. Granted, these two teams always play each other tough, so I can understand it, but the Seahawks team is nowhere close to those teams that played tough against the Niners. Even last year, the year before, and the year before that, it's just not even close. So give me the Niners big, under 44.5. Again, I think every Seahawks game under has hit since before Russell Wilson even got injured, 6 weeks maybe in a row now at least, under 44.5. It worries me on the count of I could see the Niners scoring 36 points in this game just because our defense can't get off the field and Wilson can't keep them off on his end. So yeah, give me the under. Next up, we got the now Sunday night game, Denver at Kansas City. Denver 9.5 point underdogs. Again, I think that's too high of a line. I think divisional game, Denver's not great, but they're playing tough lately. I think it's way too much. Yeah, Kansas City's looked better the last couple weeks, but I still think they have some problems. Teams have kind of figured out their offense a little bit, especially because they don't run the ball well. When you can't run the ball well, it makes it easier to defend. So I like Denver to keep this game close. I could maybe see them winning the game. I could see them winning the game. I don't know. And I like under 47.5 here. I don't fully think Kansas City's offense is all the way back. Their defense is playing better. Yeah, so I just think it's going to be a lower scoring game. That's been kind of Kansas City's MO for a while now. So I see this game being 20-17, maybe, either way. Lastly, the Monday Nighter game of the week. Obviously, New England at Buffalo. Buffalo's 2.5 point favorites. I feel like that line's going to go all over the place by the time before Monday's game. As of right now, I like the Patriots. It's a really hard game because I could see Buffalo coming off a nice win, getting back on track, winning big here. But I don't know. New England just seems to have a really good balanced team, both sides of the ball, really all three phases. Patriots teams always have good special teams. That's the case again this year. Yeah, they're doing enough on offense. They're playing good defense. Just the Bills, whereas the Bills sometimes kind of look a little lost on offense. Their defense, again, when they're not getting takeaways, which they are, I think near the tops in the league in takeaways, just conventionally, they're not great. So I don't know. I like New England points, win the game outright. All the above, honestly. I don't know. Give me the Patriots, and I like over 42.5. I just think it's a little low considering Buffalo's defense kind of struggles. And the Patriots can sneakily score. Oh, Jesus, sorry. Patriots can sneakily score a lot of points. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a fairly high-scoring game. Maybe 27-24 New England, something like that. Anyway, those are my picks. You said I'm on vacation, so I tried to keep it a little shorter. Only 24 minutes, so... Anyway, yeah, those are my picks. I'll try to do a full recap for these picks this week. I know I haven't done it. Didn't do it this week because I was on vacation and all that. But yeah, so those are my picks. Hopefully keep the ball rolling off of 2 straight big winning weeks.